We're going to train the focus, because that's what I think we're all missing. I remember when I was at university. Yeah, well, that's exactly what happened to me. I'm just about to say, I started university and it was everything was done by hand. You drew by hand, you wrote by hand. We didn't even have word processor computers. Instead, we wrote. So we wrote anything we needed to hand in. And I remember computers were starting to be a thing, and they got some in our university. And they said to us, it's time to learn computers. And we weren't interested at all. And I remember trying to learn it and staring at this screen, and it was sucking the life out of me. I don't know if you remember the first time you went on computers. If you're young, you won't, because you've been brought up with it. But I remember watching the screen, working on it, and after 10 minutes, literally feeling it pull the life force out of me. So that was my introduction to computers, university. Then you're so old you can't even remember. And then I remember my first job and having to use a computer the whole time, like literally staring at a screen. And I used to have to go for lunchtime breaks because I couldn't hack it. I just felt this massive draw. And now we live inside of it. We live inside of it. And it's wrecking our attention. You see, there's so much friction in the world right now. Where do you think all these troubles are coming from? They're coming from when a society becomes unwell, when its habits are poor, when its attention is weak, the whole of society slips. And that's exactly what's happening. I'm reading a good book at the moment by Daniel Goleman. You probably know him from, what's that famous book he did? Emotional Intelligence. Don't know if you've read that, anyone? Well, I'm reading a book of him called Focus, and it's Focus, the Driver of Excellence. And I'm reading that for many reasons. And he said that there's 3 types of focus. And when we lose that focus, we go into a danger territory, because we're like rudderless ships. We don't have that frontal lobe agency to enable us to navigate life. So we're just pulled. We're at the whims of whatever happens. And having ADHD, I know this so well. And I've got such an addictive personality, like hardcore addictive. It's very, very difficult for me to use these kind of technologies and not get hooked. But meditation, that watches my back. It keeps me safe. And I'd like to talk a little bit about meditation, what it's done for me. So many things. Number one, I've had my whole life of ADHD, undiagnosed, and I've had a hard life. I've had a terrible life. And the reason has been that I had this neurodivergence, and I just had to crack on and get on with it. So being lazy, called lazy the whole time, useless. That's been my life. And I found meditation. And I remember the first time I practiced, something clicked. The first time I formally practiced, something clicked. And I was like, wow, I feel different. I feel so different from meditation that I'm going to stick to this. I'm going to do it. And I've never stuck anything in my life. I'm a serial starter, a terrible finisher. I'm not a finisher at all. I have so many ideas. I mean, you people who have followed me for a while, I probably drive you crazy with all these ideas I come up with, and very few ever come to fruition. Naresh, hello. It's our friend Sons from the other day, from our forgiveness chat. How are you? I think it's you, isn't it? I think it's you from India. Am I right? That was a good conversation, that was. I released that afterwards. Brilliant. How do you feel after the conversation? What do you feel about forgiveness now? Have you moved in any way? Have you started to see that it's possible or how it could be possible? I just want to use this opportunity to say I've released day 5 of my course on here. The whole course is on here, so do practice that, especially you, Naresh, because it's about forgiveness and, more importantly, self-forgiveness. Yeah, there was some disturbance. It sort of, we lost it towards the end. We lost you as well, didn't we, Sons? Towards the end, it kind of strayed a little, shall we say. But do you feel any different? I liked what Sun said about forgiveness. That, tell me, Sons, I've forgotten it. Please give us your wisdom. I've completely forgotten it. What was it? Something about, because Naresh, you asked if forgiveness was possible. Am I right? Forgiveness comes from deep understanding. Yes. In fact, didn't you say something like, you don't forgive, you understand instead? I'm going to just press this button. Whoa. Did you see that? Believe in aliens. I don't think you can't right now. It's possible, but you find it difficult. You know, I've worked for an Indian company. My most recent job was for an Indian company. And I think there's cultural differences. I don't know if it's anything to do with that at all. But I found in an Indian company, there was a culture of blame. I might get roasted for saying that, and I'm not being at all racist. I love Indian people and I love Indian culture. But there was very much a culture of blame. As soon as something went wrong, whose fault was it? Or whenever something went well, when something was really good, there was a, who did this? This is brilliant. So, I don't know. I'm stabbing in the dark, and I don't mean to offend, but it's something that I noticed. We all noticed there. So maybe that's got something to do with it. We were talking about focus and the strength of focus. In my experience, someone says, I forgive you. It means that it's driven by ego. Yes, that's interesting. We touched on this, didn't we? We touched on it was coming from I, a mighty I, forgive you. So, yes, exactly. Who am I? You know. Anyway, shall we meditate? I was going to tell a few stories. They might be better after meditation. I was going to tell a few stories as well. It's partially true in some cases. Is that what I was saying about the blame? I think it tends to be the people I worked with were all like high flyers from New Delhi. So they were all like, graduates that had done really, really well in life. So, yeah, maybe that's got something to do with it. Do you meditate, Naresh? Because we're going to meditate in a minute. And this meditation, wonderful. What kind of meditation do you do? Did you say you went to a Goenka retreat? A Vipassana retreat? If I remember right. I think we were talking about Vipassana. Hey, hello, Denise. We're literally just about to start. So you've nailed it. We've just been having a bit of a chat about forgiveness. What do you think about forgiveness? Is it possible? Is forgiveness possible? Anapana, so Anapanasati, wonderful, because that's what we're going to practice. We might do it slightly different. You think it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary, including self-forgiveness. The thing is, Sans was saying that she believes that there has to be, say it again, I've forgotten. It's up here somewhere. Let me have a look. Forgiveness comes from deep understanding, and we can't give before the understanding's there. We just can't. If we do, it's a flawed forgiveness. It's temporary, and it will come back to haunt us. Yes, that's it. And our friend Naresh struggles with forgiveness, doesn't even know if it's possible. So we were just mining that one. So we're going to meditate now. We're going to do Anapanasati, and we're going to do it quite similar to you might have experienced on your Goenka retreat if you did. What is your thoughts on chanting mantra or breathing exercise? Mantra, no. I'm going to say why. I'm going to say why. Mantra can get you into some lovely states. It can work, definitely. But one of the problems is it's something we have to manufacture. We have to, whether we're saying it or thinking it, in a mantra, we're having to somehow keep it going. I know people say that you get to a point where it goes all by itself. Fair enough. But it's manufactured. It's something you're adding into the process. Whereas Anapanasati, the breath meditation, well, the breath's there. It's already there. Now, there's other reasons as well. There's so many reasons why the breath is a perfect vehicle. Let me see how many of them come to mind. One of them, it taps directly into your mental state at the time. So there's a correlation between how you are breathing and how the mind is. That's one reason. So you get insights into your mental state. That's number one. Other reasons are it's always there. Another very good reason for breath. There's so many, but another really good reason. I don't know if you know about jhana practice, where you develop deep absorption, and you go into states of ecstasy. Now, when we use the breath in meditation, the breath, as we go deeper into meditation, the breath becomes slower. It becomes harder to detect. So as our concentration begins to form, the breath becomes more subtle. When it becomes more subtle, we have to keep up. We have to drill further down into the breath to maintain concentration, otherwise we lose it. So it then draws us into the deeper states of meditation because it's difficult to feel, and increasingly so as we go deeper into meditation. Does that make sense? Breathing exercises, you mean Anulom Vilom? I'm not sure. Are you talking about a type of pranayama? Or as Indians say, pranayam? Because massively, I'm a big believer in starting with pranayama, especially anything that starts to dial down the nervous system, that starts to put you in a parasympathetic state. So we switch from fight or flight, which we're in the whole time at the moment. That's why everybody's suffering. We switch from that and we switch into the rest and digest, and then we go into meditation. That's how I like to do it myself, and that's how I teach it, and we'll do that now. So I think very much start with some kind of exercise, like extending the out breath is good enough. Or you can do ujjayi breath, where you constrict the throat and make that sound, because what that does, that slows the out breath. And when we slow the out breath, we start to really chill and relax. Another good one is Bhramari. Now, there's many reasons for Bhramari being good. You know that one. That's the humming one of the bee, that. One of the reasons that's good, it increases nitric oxide production, because that's made in the nostrils. It increases nitric oxide production 15 times. Not 15%, 15 times the amount. Now, nitric oxide, did I say that or did I say nitric oxygen? I think I might have said nitric oxygen, but anyway, nitric oxide, what that does, it's a vasodilator, so it opens up all your veins so your blood can flow. So your heart, it takes the pressure off your heart. It expands your lungs. It clears the mind. It's an incredible, people are only just waking up to nitric oxide now. Also, something really interesting with nitric oxide is it's a germ killer. And it's in the nostrils. And it just wipes out viruses. That's why yogis are so well. But yeah, so it's good. It's very good to do that. Let's do that now. Let's start. I'll guide this practice with some Bhramari. We'll then go into extending the out breath. From that, we'll go into Anapana breath work. Sorry, not breath work, mindfulness of the breath. And we will do it at the nostrils, because what I'm talking about here earlier is focus, the power of focus. So can I just ask before we start, because I don't want to confuse you in the middle of a meditation, where do you feel your breath during Anapana? Do you feel it around the nostrils? And are you very comfortable with your practice, or are you open to learning something new? Because I don't want you to be there going, oh, I don't really like this, I'm off. I'd rather find out first, or I'd rather you say, yeah, let's go for it. Let's see if I can learn something. Now, something else came into my mind the other day that I want to bring into practice, and that is a word to say. Now, this came to me because I was struggling with restlessness. And you know, when you're restless in meditation, especially if you're just meditating to a bell, to a timer, you set it for 30 minutes, half an hour, or whatever. And when the pains kick in, or oh, I'm missing something, I've got to be doing this, I've got to be doing that. When that happens, what we do forcibly, wow, okay, let me see if I can help you there. Let me see if we can soften that. What was I just saying? Yes, restlessness. So this will help you here as well. We can so easily tell ourselves during meditation, you sit there and after 5 minutes, you're like, I should really be getting on with stuff. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. And your mind will start telling you, you don't have time to be sitting around doing this, because you've got this to do, that to do, and all the rest of it. And it will bully you out of meditation. Now, here's the thing. Yes, we're all the same. We're all the same. But we convince ourselves that there's something else we've got to be doing. Now, this is a trick that the mind plays on us, because ask yourself, if it's something you really should be doing, were you doing it before you sat for meditation? And if the answer's no, I was messing about on my phone or whatever, it's a priorities issue, isn't it? It's got nothing to do with time. So whenever we get that urge, we're going to combat that urge, and we're going to combat it with a phrase. And that phrase is this, or you can do your own version of it. There is nothing more important I should be doing now. And here's the reason behind it. You might say, I'm a mother, I should be with my children, right? Or you might say, no, I've got that dissertation to do, I've got this to do, I've got that to do. But here's the thing, sitting for half an hour or whatever you've decided you're going to meditate for, right? You're going to do it better afterwards. And if you are saying, well, I really should be with the kids, the grandkids, my husband or whatever, were you actually with them before? And when you come out of meditation, the you that is with these people who your mind starts guilt tripping you about will be with them, fully with them, meeting them in the eyes, loving them properly. Does that make sense? Because when we meditate, we're our best selves. Lovely. Yep, 10 to 15 minutes are a challenge. Yeah, it can be. It can be. But what makes it challenging is, let me guess, that it's the mind. It's the mind that bullies you out. It bullies you out of meditation. And there's a very deep reason for this, right? Thank you, Denise. Now, there's a very deep reason for this. What's actually happening? Here's what's really happening, okay? At a very deep level, your ego, when you sit in meditation, it knows you're coming for it. When you start awakening to the truth, that loses power over you. So it plays head games with you. It plays head games with you. Your ego will tell you, you should be with your family, not sitting all by yourself doing this. You're being selfish. That's how it combats you. Because if you sit long enough and you fully awaken, we know what that means. It's the end of the ego. So the ego is everything we are and everything we know. It's our life. So that, of course, is going to freak out and go, get up. You can't do this. It'll lie to you. Right. We will go through the remedy. Okay. You know it. You're saying you know it, right? But do you know it? You know it in your head. Yeah? You know it in your head. Knowing has to go bone deep. If you knew it with a capital K, you wouldn't be struggling. So you don't know it. You don't know it, if that makes sense. It might be information floating around in your head, but if you truly, really knew it, you wouldn't have an issue. You'd be able to sit for hours. So we will begin. I hope they hit somewhere, and I hope this helps. So I'll speak a little bit during the meditation about this as well. So we're going to begin with some breath work. Now, we're going to do Bhramari, and the point of this is we're going to be upping our nitric oxide. We're going to be taking down our nervous system, regulating, getting relaxed and chilled, and then going into meditation. And we might even do a little bit of body scanning to ease us out. Now, I want you all to try and stick with this. We're going to meditate for a good 25 minutes or so, okay? Sometimes it sounds like this is so boring. I'm doing it anyway. There's no use. Yes, of course it does. It's, here you go. It's not stupid. It's everything you know. It knows that it's in danger. Your awakening is the biggest threat to it that there is. So let's begin. Before we begin as well, could you just let me know, Naresh, are any of the issues you have physical, like in meditation? Like, do you get pain and stuff? And sometimes those pains are phantom. They're another way the ego gets you to not be still. And you can only beat restlessness. You see, restlessness is one of the main hindrances to meditation. The only way you beat it is by sitting through it. There's no other way. So come into your posture. And allow the eyes to gently close. Okay. Cool. We'll see if we can do something with that as well. So I'll give a few pointers on posture as well. So allow the eyes to gently close now. We're going to meditate. Relax. Yep, we are. So just allow your eyes to close. Come into your meditation posture, however that is. And we'll start with some breath work. We're going to do Bhramari, just about 3. So we breathe in, and on the out breath, we extend the out breath with a hum, a deep resonant hum in the back of your throat. You should feel it in the chest. So it goes like this. So doing that, and then in breath, and again, extending the out breath with that hum as long as you can, all the way to the very end of your breath. Then bring in the breath back in. And then again, and seeing if you can feel that buzz as well. This is an opportunity for mindfulness. Can you feel the energy of that vibration continuing in the body? It can literally vibrate stress out of us, relax us deeply. And then instead of your breath returning to normal, count the in-breath relatively slowly. So see if you count to 4 or 5, or whatever it is. Don't overexert yourself. And then on the out breath, try to double the length of the in breath. So if your breath in was 4, it's 8 out. And to do this, you can't breathe out all at once. You have to let your breath out very slowly, very slowly. And you'll really run out of breath. If you start running out of breath, take that breath in. So you don't have to get to double the score. It's just a goal to help you to extend your out breath. So the last one now. Breathing out, extending that breath. And then allowing the breath to return back to normal, to your regular breath. And checking in, how do you feel? Don't open the eyes, we're going to go straight into meditation. We don't want to waste any calm that we've managed to cultivate. So wherever your hands are now, I'm going to give you a pointer to help you with posture. Bring them closer in, almost as if they're right into your hips. And notice what happens to the shoulders as you do this. The shoulders go back, don't they? So allow that to happen. So the shoulders come back, the heart space, the rib cage opens. It doesn't have to be an extreme version of this, it's very subtle. And then feel into the small of your back. That little S bend. And see if you can rest the weight of your spine on that bend. So you're almost tucking in the lower back a little and then resting down on it. These are micro adjustments and they may work for you, or you might not feel any difference. But the goal here is to align the spine naturally, not to have it poker stiff, but to have it aligned naturally, honoring that gentle S. And then relax the muscles around the spine so the structure holds you. Your posture is held as effortlessly as possible. And imagine a golden cord tied to the very top of the back of your head. And it's on a pulley. Allow that to gently pull upwards. And as it does, your chin tucks ever so slightly. The back of the neck elongates. And that takes any holding of the neck away because it's being supported. So you can feel a lightness around your neck. Allowing the muscles around the spine in the neck to just relax. And just to make sure you're quite centered, just rock ever so slowly forward and back ever so slowly. I'm talking about millimeters here, just to find that perfect alignment where you feel, this feels right. This feels, this feels good. See if you can get to that. If you can't, don't stress out about it. Then take your attention to the top of your head. What can you feel here on the top of your head? You might feel tingling, tension. Whatever's here, just allow it to be. Let it soften, almost as if the scalp is melting. And allow that awareness and softness to go down into the forehead, relax in the forehead, into the eyes so that the eyes aren't squeezed shut. They're just resting. Into the cheeks and jaw so that relaxes too. Then down the throat and into the neck. And on the shoulders, relax in the shoulders too. If there's tension, no problem. Tension doesn't mean we can't meditate. We just hover our attention over that tension. And what then happens, we allow an off-ramp for that tension to leave when it's ready. Quite often, just bringing our awareness to any tension, being soft around it, we find we're actually holding it in ourselves. We're doing it. We can drop it. And then down the tops of the arms, the lower arms and hands, the fingers, the whole torso, just relaxing the torso, the chest, the abdomen, the whole back, softening. It doesn't really make much difference to meditation if you're feeling great pain or tension. What matters is the quality of your awareness around that. In fact, pain is one of the best meditation objects we can work with, because it's so obviously there. If you intend to work with pain or discomfort, The mind doesn't easily move from it. It's magnetized to it because it wants to escape it. Then the buttocks and thighs, lower legs and feet and toes. And just checking in now with the body, accepting what's decided it's going to stay. Accepting anything that might normally disturb us. We can bring that into the breath and breathe with it. So bring your attention now to the rims of the nostrils. Where do you strongly feel the breath? Is it towards the front, near the tip of your nose? Or is it towards the back, where the lip and the nostril meet? So find that place where you can feel that connection of air and skin of the nostrils. And when you find that, lock your attention onto the point at which it's most strong. One-pointed awareness. And see if you can even shrink that down a bit. So we're really honing in on that place where we feel it strongest. We don't follow it in and out. We root our attention at that point like a tree. And the breeze is just blowing back and forth. We stay rooted, feeling it. Don't push the breath or pull it. Let it happen all by itself. So this might mean the breath becomes softer, longer. It can feel as if we're barely breathing at all. This is good. We really have to concentrate then to stay with it. And that draws us deeper into meditation. If you feel an urge to quit, to throw the towel in, don't give in. The ego will lie to you and tell you you don't have time. There's more important things to be doing. Or it might give you the best idea you've ever had in your life. Anything to stop you from meditating. So we can drop in that phrase. There is nothing more important that I can be doing right now than this. Because everything else in your life will improve as a result of the time, this short time you spend here. Everything will improve. Your time will actually extend. So rather than me talk all the way through, I'm going to leave you now to practice for the last 5 minutes in silence, just you and your breath. And remember that phrase when the ego starts telling you to quit. I'll ring the bell after to bring it to an end. So don't jump out of meditation. Just see this first bell as permission to move, keeping the eyes closed, stretch, and see if you can stay with the breath as we come out of meditation. So slowly, in your own time, let a little light in, just so shapes begin to appear. And they appear before we label them anything. And then a little more. And as you open your eyes, really see. Sight is the most absorbing of our senses. It's the most obvious. It's the most there. Yet no one talks about seeing, mindfully seeing, really looking, really noticing. So while staying in touch with your breath, can you do that now? Can you see? Things might look very different when we're relaxed, when we come out of meditation. And half of the problem is we come out of meditation and we throw all of that away and jump into the world. But if we're looking to really build a life-changing meditation practice, we need to honor the transition from meditation back into our daily lives. And then, as a result, we bring the fruits of that peace out into our world. And not only that, if we connect to the breath now, as I speak, as you truly look, you are strengthening your relationship with it. So what will happen is two things. Number one, when you meditate, your meditation will be deeper because you're spending extra time with your meditation object. And number two, when you're in the world, you will feel the breath as you go about your day, as you're just about to lose your shit, or whatever it is that happens. You'll feel your breath and you'll come to your senses because mindfulness will naturally kick in and it'll come to the rescue and it'll say, you don't want to be doing that. You know you don't want to be doing that. There's consequences. That is the power. That's another power of using the breath because you've got a support in the world as well. The amount of times I've been in traffic, getting annoyed, really pissed off at things, and whack, the breath comes in and it taps me on the nostrils and it says, what's the problem? And is this going to get you home any quicker? So all your faculties come to the rescue. It's very, very powerful. So I would advise as well, during the day, even when you're driving, I even do this when I drive. I bring my attention, it might only be for 3 or 4 breaths. It might be a lot longer, but I bring my attention to that place. In jhana circles, they call it the Anapana spot. That point, you sensitize that to such a degree that it serves as a vehicle to wake you up in the world. Let's have a look. That was so helpful. Knee. Oh, I forgot about that. Sorry, Denise. Knee was really bothering me today. But focusing on the breath to focus from the pain to the breath. Feel better now. Wonderful. Now, this is another thing. You've actually touched on something else there, Denise, that can happen. When you strengthen that focal point, that Anapana spot, that meditation, when you focus, when you've got that as an ally, and you've got pain somewhere, you can go to that. You can go to it. Ajahn Sumedho, he purposely goes to the dentist, a monk, an old monk. He's getting on for 100 now. He goes to the dentist and he says, I don't want any pain medication. Instead, he watches his breath and he focuses on it to such a degree that he's all good. He doesn't need the pain medication. And he uses that. And if the pain kicks in, he goes into it. It's like a decompression. Have we lost Naresh? Becoming aware of the touch helps a lot. You see, there's in the Buddhist sutta that relates to this, they talk about the whole body of the breath, feeling the whole body of the breath. Now, actually, no, it doesn't say that. It says kaya, and that means body. But it talks about feeling the whole body. Now, different people interpret that differently. There's arguments. Monks can't agree on it. The argument is, it says feel your whole body, so you should feel your whole body. And then some people say, no, a better translation is the body of the breath. So the body being a different thing, okay? So it's a body in itself. It's a life form of itself, the breath, if that makes any sense. Now, I found this out. This is very interesting. When I focus very strongly, when I do this focus very strongly at the nostrils, what happens is I get up out of meditation. You might feel it now. You're more aware of your body. You're more aware of, I'll get up from a meditation session focusing on my breath and I'll walk across the floor and I can feel every single footstep. I'm there. My mind was saying, stop listening, this is bullshit. Switch to another video, blah, blah, blah. Your ego was saying that because it's in danger. That's the thing. So were you able to combat it? Were you able to tell it to shut up? Were you able to say, look, this is the most important thing I can be doing now? Now, if you do go to another video, what are you going to do? Same as you've done all day. Burn out your attention. You're going to be doing the opposite of what you've just done. What you've just done, and the book I'm reading at the moment, it's called Focus, The Hidden Driver of Excellence. It's by Daniel Goleman. And in it, he says, and it's true, there's neuroscience to back this up, that when we do this practice, like samatha practice or shamatha, depending on which language you use, when we do this, we're strengthening it. Our attention can be strengthened like a muscle. It's like going to the gym. We can make it strong. So our attention is focused. Now, the quality of our whole lives depends on that. This is why everybody is burnt out, anxious, depressed, and a mess because they are rudderless. They're going through their lives and they're just being buffeted about by whatever's happening around them because they don't have anyone steering the ship. They've lost that ability to focus. And short-term content, there's proof of this. So if you look at YouTube Shorts or TikTok is the worst, what's happening there is that is burning out your ability to be in your own life. You're losing your life. This is it. This is the only one you're getting. And you're being dragged along mercilessly. Mercilessly. Because if we don't have anyone steering that ship, we don't get a say in how our life be. You know? If something pulls us this way, off we go. You know? If we're pulled to the fridge to eat something we promised ourselves we wouldn't, off we go. And how do we feel afterwards? So we need a quality of our lives. Our quality of our lives is directly in direct relation to the quality of our attention. No attention, no life. Not only that, without attention and focus, our life, it's on autopilot. We're not living it. We're not living our lives. It's like we're just being carried along by the current. Somehow I completed it, but it was all going. You see, that's not a problem. Your mind telling you all of that, that's no problem, as long as you don't obey it. Now, in ACT therapy, we talk about modes that we can be in, right? I can tell you about something called a choice point. Let me tell you about a choice point, okay? So, and this relates to what I was just saying. So imagine every single event in our lives, right? Okay. So here's the event. Bang. That's the event. Something happens. Yeah. It may be like just happened to you. This is rubbish. Blah, blah, blah. Go and watch another video. Entertain yourself. What happens? You're at a crossroads. You can take A, listen to that. That's called going into obey mode. You obey what the mind's telling you to do. So you get up and you go and you spend 4 hours on TikTok and you're burnt out and exhausted and can't sleep. So that's scenario one. Okay, going into obey mode. But this, remember, is a choice point. It's a point at which you get hold of the ship. You can steer, yeah? And it's a blip. It doesn't last long. You then, bang, no. I'm going to work towards my preset of values. I know what I want from my life. I want agency. I want to be happy. I want to be peaceful, calm, filled with joy. All of these come from enlightenment, from meditation. They all come from meditation. So, bang, you take the choice toward your values. And here's the thing as well. Every time you do that, every time you decide not to go where the mind's telling you, and you decide to go where your values are, where you want to go, where you know your happiness lies, every time you do that, you are destroying the old wiring in your brain that tells you to go that way. to go with the whims of the mind, to go and grab the beer, eat the cake, whatever it is you're addicted to, get on TikTok, right? Every time you do that, this diminishes, this choice diminishes, and you don't have any agency. The Walking Dead. That's what you become. Hello, Fox Gem. Unconscious. Yes, completely unconscious. Just the Walking Dead. So what do we want to be? You know, do we want to be pulled along our lives and end up, in our final moments going, what the hell did I do? I was alive. I was gifted a life. And look what I did with it. I spent 4 hours a day scrolling, feeling miserable and exhausted, attacking people, doing the things I don't want to do, making myself miserable. Bang, the choice point. Now, I'll say one more thing about this before we finish. There's a brilliant book by Stephen Covey. I'm not saying go and get it. It's an old book. And it's kind of about everything in life. It's quite a holistic. It looks at your business and, the way you do things and all the rest of it. And he says something fantastic in there. And he talks about, how does he put it? Let me think a minute so I get this right. Of course it slipped my mind. That's what it does. Okay. All right. Let me describe it in my own way. And you know how the brain works, it'll come to me straight after. But anyway, in between, so when something happens, bang, that's an occurrence. Something happens. There's a very narrow window here. That's mindfulness. That's agency. That tiny bit there, and it can be like this if you practice mindfulness, or it can be non-existent if you I'm late for my supper. Sorry. Peace and love.